Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirit. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you for joining in once more for a very interesting show this week. As in this week's episode, we're going to be discussing the topic of calling out a loved one on the other side. Also in this week's show, we have the channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for spirit to bring their wisdoms and communications through. And then later on in this episode, we have the forecast reading for this week, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the twists and turns of your week ahead. So without further ado, we're going to crack on. As I say, we're going to be discussing today the topic of calling out a loved one on the other side. So first of all, let's dissect this topic in further detail. I want to suggest to you that when we need that love and support and guidance, and we feel that we're not attaining that information, we're not getting that help that we need, just to expand your mind and consciousness to the infinite possibilities of the universe, by knowing that your loved one, your dear departed family member or friend is always around. So don't be afraid to call out and to ask. Now, obviously, you're wanting to do this in somewhere that's sacred to you, whether it's a room in your home where you can just be by yourself and call out and ask. You can do it using your thoughts, as we all know, but in my experience, it is more amplified if you add your voice to it. And to gain clarity in what you're wanting to ask for help for from a family member or loved one on the other side, then I would certainly spend some time upon yourself with a pen and paper, writing these communications down. Then you're bringing it from the formless, from your emotions, from your thoughts, into this vibration, into this ether. And then from that moment onwards, then I would recommend that you call out, asking what you've written down for the help, for the guidance from your family members or loved ones there. So don't be afraid to ask. In the first instance of doing this, it may be desperation. It may be a cry for help from yourself. Potentially, usually you would feel embarrassed or silly about doing something like this. Again, for the fear of what other people may think, say, or do with you doing this. This is a very personal, private journey that you can go on doing this. So don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone and ask your loved ones in spirit, maybe your ancestors or friends, as they are always around you. With me expanding that, they are always around you. They certainly are. It's just the fact that they've changed their form. They're in a different vibration than they once were. Obviously, in this 3D dimension, shall we say, on the earth plane, we're vibrating at a lower, denser vibration. And when people or souls leave their physical body, they then transcend that heaviness, that weight that's holding them down, that's suppressing their infinite possibilities. And in fact, in leaving the vessel, leaving the body behind, they're expanding their consciousness and awareness to the infinite possibilities of the universe. So with that being said, they are always around you. And I would say they're a thought away from you. If you want to communicate with them, they're always a thought away from you as well to get that direct link. But what I would also say is that spirit and your friends and family will use the path of least resistance in order to communicate with you on some level there. Most family members, the way that they do this in the beginning is interacting with you whilst you're in your sleeping state. So whilst you're sleeping, and how many people do you know that have had this experience where they've had dreams about their deceased family members, friends, or loved ones that are playing out some sort of scenario in this dream with them? And at the time when you're having that dream, it feels very real, very tangible. And when you come back and try to recall that dream, there's certain aspects within it that do stick out to you. And yet it doesn't make sense to you. It's very difficult to understand, well, why did I have that dream about granddad or whatever that has been passed for years? Well, as we know, spirit used the path of least resistance. There's always a meaning. There's always a message within dreams. So I would say sit down with pen and paper and start and debunk the symbolism within the content of that dream, because there will be a direct message to you from your family members or loved ones there. So do bear that in mind when you're having this experience. What I would say as well is that setting intentions is very important if you're wanting that direct help and guidance from a family member, friend, or loved one on the other side. So, for example, if you're going through a tough time in your timeline and you're in the thick of it, in such a state that you can't see any way out or any other solutions to the problems that you're going through. Potentially, like we say, this is because you're in the middle of it. You're very engrossed in the vibrations, the emotions, the outcome. You may have your own perception of the outcomes of whatever help and guidance you need. And so far, you're, I would say, rigid in your belief system, in your viewpoint of your situation. So when you're setting intentions, like we said earlier, for you to get clear what you would like help with, take a pen and paper and write these down. Bring your thoughts into the world of form. And then that way you will have more clarity, more energy behind what you're going to ask your family, friends, or loved ones on the other side there. And with doing this, you can then fine tune and get to the point. So you may want help with your financial life. You may want help, with your love, romantic life, or even help with a situation that's occurred in the family and you don't know which way to turn and what to do for the best. Whatever your situation is, state it and ask with clarity to your family members. Call their name, call them in, because their name is their signature, their energy signature. It aligns with their vibration, their soul vibration. And then that way you can be clear about exactly what you want and wish to receive in the form of help, guidance, and inspiration. At this point, it may feel quite triggering because you will be feeling those emotions. You'll be replaying those situations and your situation out in your mind as you're calling out. And in many respects, this is a form of releasement, a form of healing, a tonic, if you will, in itself, by having the courage and bravery to call out to your family members and loved ones. Ideally, as we've said previously, if you can do this and in a safe, secure, respectful area of your property or where you happen to feel more comfortable about doing this, then that will amplify the connection with your family, friends, or loved ones. What I would like to add to this, though, is that you respect your family members, your loved ones in the world of spirit, and respect their free will. What I mean by saying that is as they are spirit, as they are a soul, they still have a soul path to follow. And they are now infinite potential. So with me saying that as well, just because they have a soul path to follow, you've obviously got to be respectful of their time, their energy, and where they place their intentions. But because they're infinite potential as well, all the rules of this dimension in Earth, that we only have whatever we're focusing on at that moment in time. We can only do that one task at one time. That goes out the window, because when we're spirit, when we're infinite potential, it means that our soul can fragment, for want of a better term, to the point where we can multitask and be with as many people and help as many people and do as many experiences that our soul feels is in alignment with its progression. Now, what this potentially means is the fact that, for example, if there is a family member and you're asking for, say, your late father's help and guidance, you happen to be based in the United Kingdom. You have, say, a sibling, a sister or something like that, that lives the other side of the world, maybe in Australia, for example. They're different timelines, time and space and all of that divides the two of you. And that sibling is also asking for help at the same time for a completely different situation within their life. Then what this means is that as a soul, as an infinite vibration, you can be at any one place at any one time, all at the same time. Because as we've said on here before, and the knowledge and the wisdom what my guides have shared with me, that there is no such thing as time as we perceive it in our earthbound incarnation. It is everything is all happening right here, right now, in the present moment consciousness. So bearing that in mind, we can go down many avenues, many alleyways with this. The fact that everything is happening in the now, when we delve into that, so potentially your incarnation, your time on earth is happening now. Your time in spirit after that incarnation is happening now. Your time prior to you incarnating in your physical body, having your own experience under your own name, your past life, shall we say. We call it past, but is there a past? It's all happening now, isn't it? So all of your previous incarnations are happening now, and everything in the multiverse is all happening now. So with that being said, there are no governing rules. So when you do ask for your guidance from your family, friends, or loved ones, know that that is heard, that is felt, that is experienced, and that is also answered. But with me saying that, you still have to show that level of respect, because there is, as we say, the choice of free will, as we have here on the earth plane. As a soul, we have that potential to do what is in alignment with our soul's calling, our soul's growth, and evolution there as well. But that's not to say that we can't be in multiple places, in multiple dimensions, all in the same infinite moment. I'd like to also encourage you to trust and have discipline, that your communications that you've had with your family members or loved ones on the other side in spirit have been heard and are being processed and are going to be, or they already have been answered. Now, for most of us on the earth plane, when we are, maybe in a form of desperation and we're calling out, we're asking for help, and we perceive that we're not getting a direct response. Potentially, this is because we're used to the form of verbal communication, instant response, or some sort of clarification like writing or something that presents itself right under our nose. Because we're not getting that, we instantly assume that this hasn't been heard and it hasn't been answered. I would like to suggest to you otherwise. As I say, everything is happening in the now, present moment, consciousness. So it is all happening in the now moments. And the way that spirit work, this is including your family members, your loved ones, they work very, very subtly. And they work with the path of least resistance. So if For example, if you've recently lost a loved one and you want their communications to let you know that they're all right and everything like that, you've got to understand that there's going to be a vibration around you of grief, a bereavement, and that's quite a heavy, low vibration, isn't it? It's very hard to chip away at that vibration. There's no way around that grief. There's only a way through it. And that can take time depending upon your own values, belief systems. And, you have to work your way through that and understand the process. With this being said, this can make communications from a spirit's perspective very difficult to bring that love, that healing to you, that communications directly to you, because of the weight and the lower vibrational frequency that you may be feeling at that moment in time, particularly if it is a recent loss or bereavement that you are going through. So don't think that because you haven't seen or heard or experienced anything, that your family member or loved one hasn't heard your call, hasn't heard your plight. They have. It's all happening in the now. There's a process, a protocol that they have to go through. In my understanding, from what I've heard from my guides, some spirits or people, when they make their transition into the world of spirit, can come through very instantaneously. Perhaps they've been going through an illness and they've felt trapped in their body. Their body may have been limited with the capabilities that it once had. And yet when they turn to spirit or transcend into spirit, again, they feel free. They're so full of energy. They're bursting at the seams to reach out and communicate. So you may get a very instantaneous communication, and it can be beautiful when that occurs. In other situations, like I say, because grief and bereavement is shrouding you at that time, particularly if it's a recent bereavement, then they will find it particularly difficult to bring their communications through. Plus, you've got to understand that from what I've been told from my guides, that when you make your transition, you have to go through a process. Not all spirits do this, because some of us are reluctant to make our way over and follow our soul's path for whatever reason. It could be an attachment to the earth plane. It could be guilt, it could be shame, it could be just a different belief system that is holding you back. The list in potential is endless. But what I would say, what my guides have told me, is that we go through a phase or a period of going through our life on the earth plane when we go into the world of spirit, and we assess all of the situations that we went through. We feel the emotions again, but not just our own emotions, but the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, the different viewpoints of the individuals that we've happened to have interactions and an impact on throughout every element of our earthbound life. And we then start to analyze that information. And from analyzing that information, we then form, I would say, our own judgment upon how we felt we achieved and what we did on our life's journey there on Mother Earth. And from that moment, then obviously, depending upon how you judge those situations and how you view and experience those encounters, then some of these encounters, as you can imagine, we've all been through things in our life where things, maybe we behaved particularly badly and we thought we was doing the right thing at the right time, but in actual fact, there was an impact that was felt by those around us. When we make our transition, to my understanding from my guides, they've said that we have to process that information. We have to work through it. There's no way of avoiding it or going around it. We have to work through it and have an understanding of why that happened, and have a bigger understanding that what we gained from that experience, perhaps not in the time whilst we was going through it, but maybe in reflection, whilst we're having this life review, it has given us some value, some worth, some lessons, some expansion in some way, shape or form. So from my understanding, from my guides, what they've told me, that we all go through this process when we eventually release and let go of those attachments that are keeping us earthbound or connected to people, possessions, things, or maybe, like we said earlier, it could be a belief system, a very strong, heavy belief system that is stopping us making our connection and our transition in this manner. But eventually, when we do, it is again down to free will, whether we release and go to the light, then we will be faced with this encounter. So bear all this in mind. But what I'm getting to with saying this is the fact that when your friends, family, or loved ones make their communications to you, answering your calling out to them, then they will use the path of least resistance, and they will use different forms of communication than perhaps you're generally used to in your day-to-day life. And what I mean by this, they will tap into all of your senses. They will use your sense of smell, your sense of taste, touch, temperature, hearing with the physical ears, observing thoughts in your mind, seeing images, going into a daydream state in your waking consciousness. And generally they will, I would say, also use the language of symbolism. And if you can appreciate from the world of spirit, if they were to show you an image, I'm going to give you an example now. If they were to show you a dog, you'd first of all think, in your human mind, I'm seeing a dog. But when you dissect that information, when you delve deeper into it and understand the message behind that, then it will make more sense to you. And what I mean, if you're shown a dog, for example, first of all, there's an old-fashioned saying, a dog is a man's best friend. So that in itself, maybe it is a friend or somebody very close to you, letting you know of their presence. A dog is also known as a canine because it has canine teeth. So we have the initial or the letter K. So I would look at the angel number where that is placed in the alphabet. And also I'd research the angel number of number 9 as well, because that will be a form of information. Then the dog that you were shown or you've experienced, what breed of dog was it? Again, delve deeper into that breed and research the characteristics of that dog. Potentially, a lot of those characteristics may be displayed in your friend, family, or loved one that's making that communication with you. Look at the coloration of that dog, the markings on the dog. The colours, I would say, to research the colour. And also, when you're looking at that colour, observing the colour on the dog or the fur, how does it make you feel? Observe your feelings. That will be a form of communication. That will be a message to you. And then I would observe, if you're shown this image of a dog in your mind, the way that the dog is presenting itself to you. Does it look happy? Is the tail wagging? Does it look frustrated? Is it running around? Is it sat just staring at you? Does it look obedient? And then look at the facial expressions of this animal. Again, look into the eyes of the animal. Does it look happy? Does it look sad? Feel into the energy of that image. And the more that you delve deeper into that image, albeit at first glance, using your human mind, you'll just say, oh, it's a dog. But actually, from a spirit's point of view, they're giving you so much detail, so much communication, so much information in one packet, one symbolism, just by giving you that image of a dog, that it's so easier for them to bring that communication in. You imagine telling you all of these things directly. That will take a lot. So it is down to you on an individual basis to actually delve deeper with what you are seeing in terms of symbolism, what you are feeling, what you are experiencing, because there will be a deeper meaning and a deeper form of communication that your family members and loved ones will be sharing with you. Now, obviously, I've used the example of a dog. It could be absolutely anything that you're shown. I would say to just pay attention. When it comes randomly out of the blue, that's when you start to analyze it, because it's not something that you would generally think of on a day-to-day basis. So this is how you know that it is a form of communication that is being shared with you. So it would pay you to be observant and maybe have a dream journal at the side of your bed, or a notebook, or even use the note application on your electronic device. And then when it's convenient to you, you can start to analyze these symbolisms a little bit deeper. And then you'll start to unpick the hidden messages in answer to your communications and calling out to your family member and loved ones. They always respond. They always connect. I would say 9 times out of 10, in my observations, it's the fact that we're operating from our human perspective that we're not seeing the signs. We're not understanding the communications. So it's a case of us expanding and learning to do something a little bit different to what we're used to, and then we can have that instant communication and energy exchange with our family, friends, and loved ones from the world of spirit. With this being said, I would also encourage you to observe the signs in your life. Now, what spirit generally use, in my experience, is they will use, as I say, the language of symbolism, and it is multi-layered. It's a form of multi-layered communication, as we've already spoke of with the example of the dog. But spirit can, I would say, they can play songs on a radio at a specific moment in time when you happen to be in an area. And that song will have quite a substantial meaning and connection between you and that individual in spirit. Maybe it's a song that you shared. Maybe the song lyrics in itself, the message within that is the communications or the answers to the intentional questions that you've been calling out to your family, friend, or loved one. So do take some notes, pay attention. And I'd also say that by listening to the songs as well, as we know, songs contain frequency, contain energy. With that being said, when you listen to that song, there's a form of frequency and energy healing that's going to help you heighten your vibration as you're listening to it and feeling the energy within that. So that is also a form of healing and communication, again, from your family, friends, or loved one in the world of spirit. Also, you may notice signs appearing. What I mean by this is number plates on vehicles has maybe a specific meaning connecting to your question that you've asked spirit, or maybe an indication to let you know your family member is around. Again, do not ignore numbers. I would always write the numbers down and do some research on angel numbers. When you do that, there will be a message that is connected to that number that will resonate with you at that moment in time to answer your calling, to answer your message there. Also, there's animals. Many people speak of seeing a robin many times, just out of the blue, out of season. And this is known that a robin is a symbolism that one of your family members or loved ones is making their presence known to you, to let you know that they're around. Because usually, when I've seen these, robins are quite shy creatures. And particularly when a robin comes right up to you or sits on a fence and is staring directly at you and is not going anywhere. Even when you're moving, it's just there staring at you. I would say this is your family members or loved ones that have some sort of energetic influence on that creature. Again, to let you know that they're safe, they're all right, and everything's going to be well. But don't just observe the robin. Look at other animals that you happen to see. and research the animal totem meaning of them. So, for example, if you see a squirrel, then you would go onto a search engine, type in the animal totem of the squirrel, and you would read that content and information, as there will be certain traits of that animal and behaviors that it does do, and also the coloration, the body language of that animal will be interpreted into a form of a message which will resonate with you and help you and give you that guidance and support that you need at that moment in time. So it's about, I would say, understanding this language of symbolism and listening out for words popping out in conversations people are having. Maybe that word is the word you need to know. Maybe that word is the answer to what you've been asking the question for. So be more observant and know that Spirit always say yes to you. They always bring forward communications. Even at first glance, you feel that they are not doing so. It's a case of you stepping out of your current reality, your third dimensional reality, and starting to interpret things differently. As we say, one image can contain 1,000 messages. The more we delve into it and question and observe, it will open up pretty much like a daisy chain scenario where it leads on to another message, then another message, and you'll be amazed how much information you get by doing this. So I hope this has given you some hope, some faith, some love and healing and support at this moment in time, and encourages you actually to step outside of the box slightly and have a greater understanding of that you're never alone. You're always guided, protected, and inspired by your family members, friends, and loved ones as they are by your side. Well, we're now going to move into the next section of the show, which is this week's channeling from the world of Spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for Spirit to bring their wisdom and communications through. Just ahead of doing that, I'd like to check in with you all and see how you are all doing. Have you noticed these changes and shifts that have been developing in your day-to-day living? I know I certainly have. Quite recently, I've been spending some time of pause and reflection. As you know, I like to go traveling here, there, and everywhere, but I haven't been feeling that calling, that pull to do that. Instead, I felt, whether it's because it's the festive season, I've been doing Christmas shopping online and things like that, but also in taking that time out for reflection, I've also been receiving lots of inspiration, lots of wisdom, lots of guidance from Spirit ahead of next year unfolding. So they've been giving me some, I would say, new services to offer, also new content and inspiration to share with the world as well, and the technology to use in order to do that. And I've moved out my comfort zone by trusting the process and making, I would say, video content more interactive. And my guides are leading me into that avenue there. So if you do see me pop up on your social media, drop me a thumbs up, a like, a follow, or whatever, because know that this is all influence from Spirit, and that is their intention, to help as many people as possible and to bring these healing frequencies through. So that's what I've been noticing over the last few weeks. Anyway, we're going to move into this week's channeling from the world of Spirit. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and take some notes if you want to do so, and enjoy this week's channeling from the world of Spirit.
Most of you that are listening to this are wanting some sort of change or reorganization in your lives. There's a calling to the universe that is being asked of by all of you as individuals. Whether this is help with your physical health, your mental health, emotional health, or maybe it's you wanting help in terms of your day-to-day living, including finances, including your household expenditure. If you're wanting a new home, the list goes on. There's many pleas that are, or prayers that are sent out into the universe. And we wish to tell you and inform you today, it's when you surrender to your own version of things being in a certain narrative and they have to be this certain way. It's when you surrender to that that these beautiful miracles, as you would perceive them, we would see them as it's already happened, it's already here. You just need to align with it. Anyway, when you relax and let go, this is when everything that you desire and what you need in your existence will come in to your present moment consciousness, because you've released that grip and that control on how you wish things to unfold in your life. By doing this, you remove the blocks that have been keeping you trapped for such a long time and keeping you in that lower vibration of lack, of not having what you need and what you require. You see, when you adopt a vibration of faith and trust and knowingness and take one step at a time on your timeline, following your intuition along the way and not over guessing and not over manipulating situations with your ego mind and your thoughts, then it's when you're in this vibration of letting go and trust that these beautiful, beautiful miracles, as you would perceive them, will come into your vibration. A lot of you are going through a lot of testing times right now because there is a shift in your vibration on your planet. And everybody is observing it, whether big or small. There is change certainly occurring all around. For most of you, this may put you in that state of fear, that state of lack, not knowing how you're going to cope, and even survive is probably a poor choice of words, but we would use the word live or thrive, how you're going to thrive in these economic changes and also emotional and vibrational changes. How are you going to live through it? And we say, like any other time in your life, you trusted, you took that leap of faith, you relaxed into it, you came out of the vibration of fear, and instead you lived in the vibration of trust, of faith, and listening to your heart's calling. Your heart's calling is that vibration, that fire that keeps you moving forward, that stops you from overthinking and analyzing, and gives you that gumption to move forward on a timeline that has not yet been unraveled or made familiar to you. It is this vibration that we implore you to step into. The only thing you need to do is relax and release. Release your urge and need to control the situations. That way everything will fall in divine order. Many of you listening to this may consider this information, yes, but that isn't giving me the answers. Yes, but I understand, but where is it now? I'm not seeing that in my now moment consciousness. And we reply to those of you that are thinking and saying those things, that still, if you're saying and asking those questions, you are coming from a vibration of fear, a vibration of lack. And you see, it's when you remove those questions from your own current vibration and you just sit with what is, know that the next things that you need will come into your life when you need them. We understand that that is also putting a lot of you in that state of feeling insecure and moving into the vibration of lack and anxiety. We understand this, and we know that this will cause you a little amount of distress hearing what we're saying to you today. But you see, the reason why this occurs in you is because since your birth, you've all been programmed to believe a certain narrative that you have to do this to get that. That you can't have that. You have to be a special person and you have to have these qualifications. We say to you, this is all mental and emotional programming that all of you have endured, whether you realize it or not. And you see, it's only when you step outside of that prison of information, get back to your true nature, that these things will flow and you won't have those questions vexing your mind. We'll give you a very clear, constant example. Nature, for example. Wildlife. Do you think a deer or a frog would vex themselves with these questions? Do you think a fish swimming in the ocean would worry about where the next meal is coming from? No, they don't. Instead, what they do is they trust their nature. They trust their intuition. They trust their calling, and they listen to that. And that then in turn, because there's no resistance from them, there's just a desire to follow and an urge to follow that calling, that instinct. And it does lead them indeed to the next meal, to the next place of shelter, with no worry. Again, we can hear a lot of you thinking and saying, yes, but the animal kingdom doesn't have to pay rent. The animal kingdom hasn't got expenses. That is very true. We understand where you're coming from with this vibration of thinking there. And we say that to you, as hard as it will be for you to grasp, the energetic principles are still the same. When you debunk what money, currency is, it's a vibration, it's an agreement, it's an understanding, and it has manifested in the form of metallic coins or paper notes, or most importantly, the way that it has been moving on is digitally, numbers on the screen. And you can see that you're allowing, when you break it down, you're allowing numbers on a screen to control you, control your emotions, to get in the way of your instincts, to get in the way of you unfolding to your highest potential. You're giving your power away, and you're allowing that. It is a vibration, it is energy. You're allowing that energy to control you in some way, shape, or form. And this is where the inner work comes in handy, because you have to move beyond that limitation of lack. And if it helps you to observe nature, get out in nature, look at how animals in the wild cope. Well, cope is probably a poor choice of words. We would say thrive. They listen, they observe their sensations, their vibrations, and they feel that magnetic calling, that pull, which will take them to their next meal, or their mate, or their new location. They listen. As you know, a lot of animals migrate. Nobody tells them what to do. They feel it. They feel the vibration in the atmosphere, that the food is running low in those areas. And so they move to hotter or more plentiful climates. And they do this by feeling into the vibration. You don't think some of these migratory birds worry about the travel that they will have to do, the amount of hours they will have to put on in order to get to their new destination, their new location, often continents away from where they previously been inhabiting. No, they don't worry about any of that. That would cause them a great state of anxiety, and that will stop them in their tracks before they've even begun, wouldn't it? Instead, they trust that magnetic calling, that pull, that desire, that need. And that need is, they cannot shake it off, they cannot ignore it. It's overwhelming to them. It's consuming every moment of their being, their thought vibrations, to the point where all of the flock click in with that vibrational calling, and they all flock together to migrate to new lands. They all feel the vibration. So we need to instruct you to get back to nature, get back to your true nature. And this is also where we've alluded to many times before, where people will band vibrational communities, just like the migratory birds that we've spoken of, where they all link in with a similar vibration, and they'll have a knowing that they need to be in this location. They'll need to do these jobs and roles in order to get the perceived outcome that they all desire. So the crux of this message today is to stop you all from worrying, coming from the vibration of fear or lack. Remove yourself from the questions that have been programmed into you to ask, to keep you in the vibration of fear and lack. And instead we would prescribe to you to get out in nature as much as possible. When you're out in nature, we would certainly ask you to observe it, and observe the animals, observe the plants, the fauna, and observe the way that they behave. And you'll notice your species, the human species, race, whatever you want to term yourselves, has moved away from nature in such a degree it's become alien to you. And we say this is where you need to be heading. You need to be connecting in with nature, as this will put the pieces back into the puzzle of your life and will help you once more to flourish in a way that you have not been able to comprehend for many a millennia. We thank you for listening to our conversation today, and we hope it sets some seeds in your mind so that you can open up, flourish, observe, and move on the timeline that was designed for you to walk on. We send you our love and our healing and our best wishes at this moment in time. God bless and goodbye for now.
I really enjoyed that communication there from Spirit. Interesting to hear about they've noticed, Spirit and the universe, that we're all wanting change, and that we're all sending our intentions and prayers out into the universe. And it's nice to know that they're being heard and listened to. And it was also encouraging to hear that part of why we're not experiencing these wants and desires is because we're standing in our own way. So it's telling us to surrender, and in order for us to receive the miracles that we desire there. So that's encouraging to hear. Have faith as well. Trust, and importantly, follow our intuition. I'm sure you'll agree, we all get that intuitive hit, that calling, that stirring, that magnetic pull that we can't seem to shake off, that we just can't seem to ignore anymore. And it's trusting that feeling, that emotion, that energy, and just going with it and allowing ourselves to be steered in the right direction to connect us to our wants, to our desires that we want to manifest and experience in our life there as well. Also encouraging to hear that there is a shift in vibration on this planet, and I'm sure many of you are listening to this can also feel it, sense it, and also see it as well. I mean, we've all seen various changes in the political forum there, haven't we, as well? So that will have obviously a ricochet effect down to everybody else. But nice to hear that to follow nature, observe nature, and like nature would do, animals would do, they would follow their instincts, they would trust, wouldn't they? And by following the animal kingdom, I would say our own personal nature, then we can connect and follow into our highest timeline, and with ease and grace. So very interesting communication there from Spirit. We're now going to move into the next segment of the show, which is this week's forecast reading. So sit back, relax, take some notes if you wish, and enjoy this week's forecast reading. Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice, and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday, the 9th of December, 2024. Now, those of you that have watched me work before will know that I connect with my spirit guides and helpers, and also consult the wisdom of the Angel Tarot card. So what I'm about to do is just shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out for this week's energy forecast reading. So this is your card for this week's reading. I'm now going to link into the vibration of that. First of all, I'm experiencing tightness around the throat chakra. So this week, I feel as though it will see you actually fighting battles against yourself in connection with communications. Part of you won't want to divulge the information. The core essence, the truth of who you are, feels that urge to speak up, So trust your intuition this week and just let that energy flow from you and just get out of your head. You've been standing in the way of yourself for so long now that now's the time of year where you're just going to allow that part of you now to just settle down and allow your truth to speak through you. This week will also see you having an expansion with your heart chakra. And what I mean by this is it's you being open to receiving love. Yes, you give love so much openly and freely, and you help so many people with your kind heart there. But you don't allow yourself to receive that love. And this love can come in many forms for you that are watching this. It could come in the form of a compliment for yourself. Also, it may come in the form of somebody helping you, or maybe giving you some wise words of wisdom that you need to take on board. Also, it could come in the form of romantic love. And if that is the case, then don't be afraid of this new vibration that is entering your life. It is there to help you, nourish you, and to put you on a higher timeline. And also what you will find is it will have a ricochet effect in other areas of your life where you're going to excel, where opportunities will find their way to you, and where finances will improve also as well. And this is all because you have let your guard down and you're open to receiving love in whatever form that seems to manifest in your week this week. This week will also see you paying attention to your physical health, as you will notice that you will be needing more time for rest so that you can recalibrate and maybe clear those cobwebs in your mind. Again, the mind seems to be a key feature of this week's forecast, where you've been standing in front of yourself, stopping yourself from experiencing a better timeline than what you're experiencing at the moment. And all of you, I feel, you will have been grumbling about, well, why haven't I got this? Why isn't this happening? And it's because you are standing in your own way. So step aside and trust the universe is going to be working through you this week. When you feel that fire in your belly, that gusto, that get up and go, pushing you forward, then listen to it and allow yourself just to trust and go with it. You will not be disappointed. What I'm also sensing this week is there will be a need for you to actually listen more to family members, and not just the direct communications that they're having you. It's the unspoken words in between, sort of the nuances. I'm talking about hints. I'm talking about their body language. I'm talking about the way that they're acting, as you will pick up that it's not quite in alignment with what they're saying. So read between the lines and actually use your intuition in order to be there, be a better person, and be that beautiful embodiment of light for them. So let's turn over the card, see what the cards have to say for you. Okay, so let's read the inscription at the bottom. It reads, trustworthy, honourable, devoted, cautious, someone you can completely trust, a situation that is safe, a solid romantic relationship, hidden but well-intentioned emotions, a charitable benefactor, seeing a counsellor. That sounds very encouraging, doesn't it? And it touches upon a lot of the things that we've been talking about already, such as the romance, such as relationships, such as allowing love in and the reception and receiving of love in your life there. So we're going to take a look around here. This top of the left-hand side of the card, it says KG. To me, I'm going to take that quite literally, KG. Now, this is what we call people when they're closing themselves off. They're being cagey. They're putting themselves in a cage. They're not allowing themselves to move openly and freely. This week, as we previously said, we'll see you actually stepping away from allowing you to step away from your own restrictions. Step outside of that cage, trust a little, and live a little bit more than what you have been doing. You'll be pleasantly surprised when you do that. Also, as you can see on this side, we have, I would say that looks like a teardrop there. So that's talking about emotions, old emotions coming to the surface. I'm being told being triggered by somebody else's vibration. But this is a good thing because it's going to get you into alignment and get you out of feeling stuck in a box there as well. Also, looking at this card, I'd like to look around the edge of the card. We've got the colour of blue. and it moves into green there. That's talking about communications. We mentioned the throat chakra earlier as well. So it's talking about let your communications be clear. It's talking also about emotions and not pushing those emotions down, not starving them, not allowing them to come forward. It's giving you permission now to speak your truth and honor that truth as you do so there. It's moving into green there, so that would indicate it's now time to go for it and stop holding yourself back. It would also indicate that there's a level of growth in your life that is going to occur once you step outside of your own way. And this will also be telling you to trust the stirrings of your heart chakra, as that is going to lead you forward, moving forward throughout the course of this week. So trust that process. Taking a look at the artwork there, we've got this, I would say that looks like a very sort of feminine energy just because of the hair. So maybe it's telling you to let your hair down, trust your sensitivity, and know that you'll be guided at the right place, right time. It's also telling you to rest. And when you feel that urge and desire to rest, for reflection, for recalibration, this will serve you, because it will, I would say, it will fast track you into a higher timeline. You know, if we carry on going as we are doing, rushing ahead, we don't have the knowledge base. We don't have that reflection time to understand, well, we're actually wasting our time doing that. So when you feel that urge to rest, recalibrate, this is where the inspiration is going to strike you this week as well. The fact that they're holding a cup there, so that's telling you actually how you are perceiving life, a cup that's half full or a cup that's half empty. That is going to be your outcome. It depends on what you put your focus on. The fact that they're in a boat there would indicate it's telling you to rise above your emotions there. You will get to the destination that is organized and planned for you by your higher self, by your spirit team. You will get there, but you need to rise above your emotions and you need to trust. Go with the flow is the message that I'm hearing for you with respect to that. Also, we've got green around here as well, which would indicate wearing your heart on your sleeve, letting people know who you are, the truth of who you are, and it's safe for you to express your truth and your emotions. Remember what we said, you give a little love. It's telling you now for you to receive love as well, and as growth will help you raise your consciousness and awareness, and you'll be moving in a new timeline. We've got the ocean waves there, so that would indicate a new timeline, frequencies changing around you once you go with the flow and trust these emotions there, and that stirring, that calling in your heart there. Also, the color of blue, as we've said previously, is talking about emotions. It's talking about communication, and also I feel as though it's talking about being calm in that vibration when you do that communications. And there's a ship or a vessel on the horizon. So that means that there's somebody or something coming into your life, and you need to have that faith, have that patience, as it will be coming in when it's meant. So that's what I picked up for this week's forecast reading. I hope that aligns with you. Thank you for hearting, liking, commenting and sharing. If you've enjoyed this reading, I have got a buy me a coffee link either above or below this video, and this is a virtual tip jar, so all of your generous donations will be used in accordance with the spiritual work that I do to help people raise their vibration on their pathway. If you'd like to book in with me with any of my services, such as a private one-to-one reading or 12-month recorded forecast reading, please get in touch by heading over to my website, www.glenboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can contact me through Facebook on Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium. Join me every Monday with my radio show From Beyond with Glenn Boddice, talking about all things spiritual, paranormal and self-help on www.pulsetalkradio.com at 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Bye for now. Sounds like we're in for an interesting week ahead, doesn't it? Certainly. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm certainly open to the potentiality of love. I love that. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed the content and the information of this week's episode. If you have any questions you'd like to ask the show, please contact me at www.glenboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can email me at glenboddice@live.co.uk. It would be amazing to hear from you. Anyway, take care, have a fantastic week, and you can join me next week at 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on pulsetalkradio.com. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium